These are the parts I'm going to be using today to do this job. Front brake rotors, front pads. These are the tools I'm going to be using today to do this job. 17 and a 14 millimeter wrench, 8 millimeter wrench, flat tip screwdriver, another flat tip screwdriver, 3/8 cordless ratchet, 17 millimeter socket, 14 millimeter socket, 3/8 ratchet, 10 millimeter socket, 2 bolts to remove my rotor from the hub, an air gun, hood prop, rubber mallet, caliper piston compressor, .3 brake fluid, ceramic grease, anti-seize, brake clean, a bottle of water with a hole on the top, and my brake flusher. First, I'm going to be loosening up the bleeder screw while the caliper is mounted on the car. Remove this rubber cap, loosening up the bleeder screw. Removing the caliper, there's 2 bolts, one here and one here. Okay, removing these clips. So removing the pads. Removing the caliper mount, there's 2 bolts, one here and one here. So I'm going to be removing the rotor from the hub. Right now this rotor is stuck on the hub, it's all rusty. So I want to shoot some penetrating oil on. I will let the thing sit. Now I got 2 bolts that I'm going to screw into the rotor. Tighten up the bolts and it's going to pull the rotor off the hub. I'm going to be compressing my piston in, putting the use pad on, putting on my caliper piston compressor, opening up the bleeder screw, compressing the piston. You want to open up the bleeder screw to let all the old fluid out. You don't want to push old fluid back up the hose up to the master. So lock up the bleeder screw. Okay, before I put the rotor on, I'm going to be putting some anti-seize around my hub. So I'm going to be cleaning up my rotor with some brake clean in case there's any grease or oil on top of the rotor. Putting on my rotor. Putting on 2 wheel nuts just to hold the rotor against the hub so it doesn't wobble. So I'm going to be greasing up my pins on my caliper mount. Cleaning up the pins. Putting some grease right in here. Okay, greasing up the pins. Greasing up the caliper mount. I'm going to be reusing the old shim. Nothing wrong with reusing the old shim. Putting on my caliper mount. Tightening up the bolts. So I'm going to be transferring these clips to the new pad. There is new clips in the hardware, but it's better to use the original clips. It fits better. If it's broken, then yeah, use the one from the hardware kit. So this rotor is spinning clockwise, so this clip right here always goes to the top. This is the leading edge. Putting some grease in the back of this pad. Greasing up my caliper. Putting these clips on the pad. Putting on my caliper. Bolting up my caliper. Okay, tightening up my bolts. Now we're going to bleed the brakes. I hooked up my brake flusher to my master cylinder. Now I'm going to bleed the brakes. Opening up my bleeder screw. Let the fluid come out. Let it come out until it's clean, then lock them up. So the brake fluid looks pretty clean, so I'm going to be locking up my bleeder screw. Shooting some water on my bleeder screw. Brake fluid is water soluble. Blowing them down with some air, drying it up. Now we're going to pressurize the system and check for leaks. So I'm going to start up the vehicle, pump the brake up and down no more than halfway until you feel pressure. Once you feel pressure, then the pads are seated. So now you want to do is hold the brake. I'm going to be using my hood prop, one side against the brake pedal, the other side against the seat. So pressurize the brake system for about 15-20 seconds and then check for leaks. By pressurizing the system, holding for 15-20 seconds, checking for leaks, everything looks really dry, you're good to go. Don't forget to put on your rubber plug. So that's how you place front pads and front rotors. Don't forget to subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and I see you in the next video. Aloha.